Russia has just launched its largest ever drone strike. So what was in their mind? What's going on? And was there any strategic advantage to it?
This was interesting because ever since February, when Russia first invaded, they've been using drones and missile strikes alike. But this was, this week, the biggest single drone attack overnight ever since the start of the war. Over 70 of these Shahed 136 drones, the drones that have come in from, brought in from Iran. They're not very fast. They're just over 100 miles an hour. They're not very big. They're not very powerful. But it was pretty evident that a lot of them were thrown at the Ukraine air defense system. So part of the question is why? Now, one of the reasons probably is that Ukraine's got better and better at shooting these things out of the sky. They are relatively vulnerable to small arms fire, and as long as you learn how to lead turn so that you're firing in front of them, that actually they don't appear that difficult to take down. And Ukraine has regularly claimed they've shot down all of the drones. So what Russian tactics now are probably trying to swamp Ukraine's air defenses because, it's a bit like, remember we talked about the Hamas rockets?
5,000 odd missiles.
Yeah, far more than the Iron Dome system could cope with. If you do try and do the same, so it feels like they've done 70 of these attacks, try to overwhelm. Quantity has a quality all of its own, and therefore some will get through. And that seems to be number one. Another reason might have been that I noted in the press the last couple of weeks, there's been appeals for Ukraine to get more air defense systems from the West. Now, if I was Russia, I'd be going, that means Ukraine is a bit short of air defenses, therefore I'll launch a lot of attacks to try to overwhelm them. But also it's worth pointing out, about a year ago, this was when Russia started targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure because we've just had the wet season. It now plummets into the really cold season in Ukraine. And by targeting energy infrastructure, it made life miserable for Ukrainians last year. So it seems like there's probably a bit of deja vu going on there. But it is worth pointing out that last year it didn't seem to affect the morale of the Ukrainians at all. And a bit like London in the Blitz, did Londoners lose the will to fight the Second World War when Germany was bombing London? The answer was no. It stiffened its resolve, and looks almost certain the same was the case here. But it was really notable that this was the biggest single attack since the start of the war.
So maybe, done for terror or done for testing out the defences, but maybe from that point of view, not so effective